It works. Oh, that's nice. I like that trigger. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. Today we are going over the Grit Grips G19 aftermarket frame. This thing is almost the blueprint of what I think a lot of frame companies should go off of. So let's get into it. So to start with, I purchased that frame on my own. Grit Grips did not send it to me or anything like that. I have no relationship with them, blah, 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 all that stuff. So I also understand that my opinion of this frame is going to be based off of how I feel, how it feels in my hand, which may be very different than how it feels in your hand. However, I'm going to try to I'm going to make it very clear what I feel is right for me and what I feel is objectively better one way or the other versus other grips that I have tried in the past. So there will be some subjective stuff and some objective stuff. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Murphy's Guns. Murphy's Guns here in Tucson. They're who I use for all of my FFL transfers, all of my SOT stuff. I'm currently going through them for a suppressor right now, as another suppressor right now. They have a ton of selection. They're very, very helpful people. I really enjoy going there. Great people all the way across the board that work there. And yeah, if you are in the Tucson area, rolling through or anywhere reasonably near here, I highly suggest checking out Murphy's Guns here in Tucson, Arizona. So Grit Grips, I first heard of them at a range day that I was at with Veridian Weapons, Veridian's weapons system, what technology, I can't remember how their name goes, but Veridian, the red dot or green dot company. Went to a range day up in Phoenix, and they had a few pistols sitting there that I just thought were Glocks that were kind of dressed up, and I shot them. I was like, wow, these are really nice. They feel great in the hand. And I had one of these grips purchased less than 24 hours later. I had bought one less than 24 hours later, or ordered one. That's the impression that they made on me. Now again, subjectively speaking, that's a lot of because of how it fits my hand and how it feels, but there's other things in here that I think are just really not just tastefully done, but objectively probably better than a lot of other ones that I have seen out there. So let's get into some of the specs about this frame. So this is a G19 polymer frame, Gen 3 compatible with the exception of the mag release, which we'll get to here in a second. It is also Glock holster compatible, which is fantastic. It is dimensionally much the same as a Glock frame, which we are going to compare it to other popular frames that I like here later on in the video. Has very nice undercuts here in the trigger, very smooth, very nicely done. Has a fantastic grip texture, and I mean just a phenomenal grip texture done to it. And it's these little like arrows or Y's or something like that, whatever that is in their logo is what they've etched into the frame itself. Now that grip texture goes all the way back here into where your hand fits and up into the gas pedal. So there is a very nice thumb ledge here that has that same grip texture on it. A very aggressive thumb ledge that you can really bear down real well on this frame. It has a little bit of a magwell, not a whole lot of beveling left and right, but it has a nice ramp in the very front of it for when you're feeding mags and your front round catches that lip, it will guide it right in. And it has a very nice beaver tail here. You can choke up really, really high on this and never have to worry about slide bite. Now the grip itself has very Glock-like feel to it as far as like the angle, the palm swell here, you know, things like that. But it also has a bit of a bulge here. Like the frame has a bit of a fat spot here, and that fits the hand super nice because your hand sinks in the middle. We all of ours does, and that little bulge is in just the right place, at least for my hand size, that it cradles in there really, really nicely. Now it has a Glock style front rail. I know there's a light on here. I'll put a picture maybe from the website or something over top of this so you can see that. But then also on this side, you can see the mag release. So the mag release seems to be not proprietary, but a very specific design for them. And it has some scallops in it or some lines in it, but it's also radiused. It has a very nice curve to it, so there's no sharp edges on it or anything like that. There is a slight cutout in the frame for the mag release as well, a little bit of a bevel, but it has a very nice feel to it. I get that it's a mag release, but when you are running mag changes all day long, that little bit of a softening of the release is actually quite nice. Now, one other thing I noticed about the frame is that while it doesn't have a specific glove bevel, being the area here that is cut out, what they've done is they've sort of transitioned slowly, a very flat transition into the trigger guard. So it's not a sudden glove bevel like some frames are. It's definitely not an angular glove bevel, but it's, again, like a softening of that edge. They really radiused it in very nicely, and it just makes for a more comfortable frame in the hand. So you can buy these as a strip frame. You can buy them, of course, with their mag release in it. You can buy these as a strip frame. You can buy these with their trigger, their completion kit, or you can buy it with an OE Glock completion kit. 3 different price ranges. I purchased mine as their trigger kit, so not the OE trigger kit, not the OE completion kit, and not stripped. I bought it with their completion kit, and it has run very, very well over about 500 rounds, between 300 and 500 rounds on it at this point. Now, the feel of their completion kit, I'm not going to cover the OE Glock one. We've all probably shot Glocks at this point, so we know what those triggers feel like. These feel much the same, maybe a little bit lighter, just a fuzz lighter, and maybe a little bit more crisp of a break, but very Glock-esque for their completion kit. Now, I've run a number of slides on them, slide and barrel combinations, and I've run a number of mags through this. Combat Armory complete slide with a Combat Armory fluted barrel. OE Glock slide with a Bear Creek Arsenal stainless steel barrel. Lone Wolf Dusk 19 slide and complete upper assembly. The slide and barrel off of my carry gun, which is an AIM Surplus slide with a Bear Creek Arsenal stainless steel barrel. All right, KCI USA mag. OE Glock mag. ETS mag. This is the older generation, not the new Omega mag. The new ETS Omega mags. And Magpul G19 mag. So for our first comparison, let's compare it to a Glock, Gen 3 Glock frame. It is in many ways the very same width as a Glock frame. Of course, it's the same length and same height as a Glock 19 frame. It has the same, I know this has a mag well on it, but it has the same basic footprint on the magwell as the Gen 3 Glock frame. Of course, it's missing the finger grooves, which I don't care about one way or the other, and this has a reversible mag catch on it from one side to the other, like a Gen 4, where a Gen 3 Glock frame does not. Now, for the feel of the two frames, the Glock frame, I know everybody's like, oh, Glock frames are blocky and they're like holding a 2x4 in your hand. I've never been one to subscribe to that theory because I think Glock frames are quite comfortable. But if there is a frame out there that makes this feel like a 2x4, that makes this feel blocky to me, it is this frame. This frame has very nice curves all the way around it. There aren't any abrupt corners or harder corners on it like there is on a Glock frame on this one. This one's very rounded, very nice, very smooth around it. Not smooth to texture because this texturing is very good. But it doesn't have that blocky feeling. Now, one of my favorite frames is the Kiger frame, the Anderson Kiger frame, the SCT frame, as it were. Now, as it pertains to this, first, the SCT frame is not Glock holster compatible. They do fit Polymer 80 holsters. Polymer 80 holsters are reasonably available, but not as available as, say, something like a Glock holster. So, that is one difference between the two. They both have a nice thumb ledge, a nice aggressive gas pedal, as it were. They both have very nice texturing. This one has more texturing in more places than the SCT or Kiger frame. The Kiger frame has obviously different texturing on the front and rear back straps. Speaking of back straps, neither one of these have aftermarket back straps for them. The SCT or Kiger frame being a far blockier, more angular design than what this is. However, this does have a nice cutout in the bottom of the grip in the magwell in order to strip flat base plate mags a little easier. This one has an angular glove bevel. This one has that swoop in that I talked about. They both have very nice undercuts, trigger undercuts, dual undercuts there. This one having a serrated texture on the bottom where this one does not. And the Kiger SCT frame does not have the reversible mag catch like this one does. Now, a lot of that is going to be how it feels in your hand, right? That's a lot of subjective feelings about one thing or another. Maybe this is a little bit better size for you than this because it doesn't have the swell. Maybe this is a little bit better for you because it doesn't have the palm swell or the swell here. That's going to be very subjective. Now, the objective part of these two is that the Kiger SCT frame is known. It has a reputation now for tearing up your hand. Now, I still really like this frame, but as you can see here, when you choke up on it, the frame disappears. I get very, 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 very bad slide bite with the SCT Kiger frame, where with this, you can choke up on it all day long, and unless you're holding it on top of the beaver tail, you're not going to get that slide bite. Moving into the Dusk 19, the Lone Wolf Dusk 19 frame. These are very, very different frames, more so than the SCT Kiger frame was to this, because this one has raised grip panels. Everything else really has sort of a texture in the polymer. This one actually has very large raised grip panels, which I like this. I just reviewed this not long ago, and I praised this frame. This frame has other features about it that this one does not. So first, the grip texture on the Dust 19 versus the Grit grips is, as I said, raised grip panels, very large raised grip panels versus texturing in the polymer. This grip is also considerably smaller. If you line up the two, you can see right there the Dust 19 frame front to back, right? Front to back is considerably smaller. Now, side to side, it's not a whole lot different. Side to side, it's not a whole lot different. I mean, it still has to fit the same mag, but front to back, it is a considerably smaller frame. Now, this is also where we pick up into removable and replaceable back straps. So the Dust 19 has one or two other sizes that you can replace out. Two. It's a total of two. So this one that has the hump in it and one that is flat. This one, of course, having no back straps that you can change out. Now for beaver tails, they both have a very nice beaver tail. The Dusk being a bit thinner beaver tail. I haven't noticed one way or the other if I can like get a higher grip on this than I can this. At least higher to where it makes a difference. But they both have very nice back straps on them. They both have reversible mag releases, Gen 4 style mag releases, so that's nice. They both have very, very good double undercuts on the trigger guard, both untextured. Now the one on the Dusk is a shade thinner. They narrowed it down a little bit, whereas the Grit Grips is not narrower, but it has more of a curve to the face of it, to the profile of it. Now they both fit Glock holsters, which is awesome. One of the biggest differences I think in the two that could potentially matter to somebody is this almost has two thumb ledges and this has a single one. Now what I mean by that is, as you can see here, there is a single thumb ledge gas pedal there. As you can see here, this appears to have like double layers, and I'll show you what I mean. So with the Dust 19, if you are somebody that likes to ride the slide, your thumb goes a little higher, they did leave a little bit there for you. Or you can run it down here, and it has a nice texture in there to do so. Whereas all other grips on the market, including the Grit Grips, has a single purchase point for your thumb. So for the YouTube censors out there, I'm getting ready to talk about the price of this. It's just to forward on pertinent information to the viewer so they can make the best decision. I'm not selling anything on this channel. I'm not selling anything at all. It's just information, and that is it. I know how sensitive you guys get about that stuff. So I said earlier, there are three configurations you can get this in. A stripped frame with the mag release, a complete frame with their completion kit, with the Grit Grips completion kit, or with the OE completion kit. The strip frame comes in at $70. That is the frame, the, of course, rails, but the mag release. The one with the Grit Grips completion kit, the one I have right here, the one I've been using, is $115. Not bad at all, which is why I went that route, because it was like I started adding up, you know what, I can't complete it for less than what they're selling it for. And then the one with the OE internals is $155. So all around, very good prices for what you're getting. Nothing gets an absolutely free pass on this channel. What, if anything, would I change about this? Now, what I'm going to go into is what I would change, but I don't know if they could stay in the price realm that they're currently selling them at, which is I would put an extended, like a Vickers Tango Down slide stop on it, and I would put extended controls for the takedown levers or the takedown part here. From a price standpoint, those aren't very much more, if any more, depending on like how you can get them as a manufacturer in bulk and things like that. They may not be any more. But those are the two things that if there was anything I would change about it or add to it, make different about it, they're those two things. Otherwise, I really like that frame, and I'm going to continue running it. I'm going to put another trigger in it, which is this Apex trigger I will be putting in it, and assuming it runs fine in that frame, you will get to see it when I review the trigger. Because once a trigger goes in it, if it's compatible with it and it runs well, then it's compatible with everything, like all those slides, all those mags, that, you know, possibly a trigger, we'll see in the future. But yeah, it's just 100% cross compatible, and I haven't found a fitment issue or functionality issue with anything that I've run across it. So later on down the road, assuming all this works, I'll likely end up carrying that frame. If everything works out right, if once I hit maybe 1,000 or 1,200 rounds with it, it's still functioning well, polymer hasn't chewed apart or some weird stuff like that. All right, so that's it for the Grit Grips G19 frame. I really, really like this thing. I mean, a lot. And you'll see more of it in the future. Check out Grit Grips online. I'll leave a way for you to find them down below. And yeah, check them out. Maybe it's for you. Maybe it's not. I don't know. While you're at it, if you like this sort of content, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure and hit the notification bell, and remember to hit all notifications. Also, I hadn't said anything about this before, but if you guys could head over to my new Instagram page. I've been a month and a half ago or something, 2 months ago, I got banned from, now I guess it'd be about a month ago, I got banned from Instagram for nothing that I did wrong, but Meta being who they are, it is what it is. And I had to start over. Several thousand followers gone, and not everybody knows how to find me again. So check out the link below for my new Instagram account. That will be awesome, because I also have a few giveaways coming up that will be run only on Instagram in the very near future, in the coming 2 to 3 months. I appreciate everybody's support out there, and we'll talk to you later. So I changed it out to the Apex trigger right after shutting the button off. It works. Oh, that's nice. I like that trigger. More to come.